Lars? Lars, what's wrong, Lars? What is it, boy? Speak to me.
I ate too much candy, Kenny. I couldn't just leave it. I couldn't leave it behind. I ate it all. Even the cakes, the lollies, and the wrappers too. I devoured them.
But I've got this delicious cake for us to share.
I guess I suppose I could have a few bites.
A few moments later.
Hey guys, you ready for our candy episode?
No, please. No more.
Oh, but I have this Halloween-themed Tokyo treat box.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a Tokyo treat box...
I suppose we could. I mean, it is limited edition.
Hey, Tokyo treat, call me.
Call us.
It's over 9,000!
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio!
Konnichiwa, and welcome to a new episode of Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast where we dive into the world of anime and manga. I'm Kyle, and joining me are my co-hosts Kenny and Lars. How you doing, guys? Now, my microphone is too low because I'm really good at operating this desk. Can you believe I wasn't given a job to do this?
I'm so proud of you. You're trying your best. And look, obviously you were just so excited for our candy episode that you were just focused on the cakes that we were eating before we started.
No, I'm literally on a sugar high right now. It's what I need after this week because it has been very busy here in WA. There's been a lot going on. Oh, yeah. But that doesn't mean we haven't had time to watch some things. And we have many things to talk about.
Always.
Of course. Now, I do want to start with something you were watching, Kenny.
Yes,
which is it Traveling Witch?
Yes, Traveling Witch. So here's the thing. It's pleasant until it's not, and then it's pleasant again until it's not.
What does that mean?
It's like Kino's Journey, isn't it?
Very much like Kino's Journey. The whole thing about it is that it gives you these fantastic premises, these great characters, this very intricate world building, and then every now and then it'll throw a situation at the main character which is just beyond dark. The implications are just kind of horrifying.
Okay.
Like, not kind of horrifying, they are downright horrifying in a couple of instances.
As in not family friendly horrifying?
I wouldn't say not family friendly, but there's issues. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah.
What, like, looking at the PV and also just like the
All of the
art
art
for
for
it
it,
and stuff, because I haven't seen any of it yet. But it looks like it could be like Kiki's Delivery Service, kind of like a witch on her journey, like trying to learn. So it's not. So is it kind of got like Madoka kind of dark twist, or like how far are we going?
I wouldn't say full Madoka. It's more that it gives you implications of darkness.
So this is kind of like, what was it, like the Forest Guardian one from a couple of seasons
Somali.
back? Somali. So like
What a
Somali
beautiful
mixed
show.
with Kiki's Delivery Service?
Somali mixed with Kiki's Delivery Service, and yes, very much like Kino's Journey, as you mentioned before.
With the darker elements, but every episode, I'm guessing, it's not a case of that you have to wait for 6 episodes, because we've only got 4, haven't we? So
Yeah, no, they seem to be very, very self-contained episodes. There are small callbacks and stuff.
Okay. Would you say it's a good thing that it's kind of got these little dark twists, whatever you're referring to, or do you think it's kind of weird that they're doing
I'd actually say that it works in its favor.
Okay, that's good.
It confronts the main character with these pretty just
concerning situations.
Can you
concerning
give me an
situations, but
example?
great lessons. There is okay, so she comes across a town which has been burned to the ground by a monster.
Yeah, that's pretty dark.
Yep.
Okay.
And she and another person are setting a trap for this monster. They are doing this by using magic to animate the slightly charged soft toys of all of the children that are dead in the town.
Spooky Halloween.
Wow, that's a bit...
Yaiku.
All right, well, that sounds actually really interesting. So let's go from really interesting to utter trash.
Okay.
Let's talk about my favourite, Our Last Crusade or The Rise of a New World. It is another dumpster fire of romance.
Your favourite, Kyle.
It's my favourite.
You love dumpster
I
fire
have trash
anime.
taste.
You have. Your taste is terrible.
So, Our Last Crusade or Rise of the New World, or as I like to call it, Sword Art Online, the new expansion, is very much similar characters, similar premise, where
They look the same.
They do. It's 2 characters who you've got 2 people from. Well, I mean, okay, it's a different story to Sword Art Online, but it's the style of it and the feel of it is very SAO.
I
Like early SAO.
turned this on to watch it with my mate, and he was like, I'm into this. And I'm like, yes, but you like sort of online. I literally couldn't handle 10 minutes of it. I turned it off because I was like, this is every isekai ever.
I know.
I couldn't do it. And you guys can't see, but I did roll my eyes at Kyle before, and I just want it on record that I was rolling my eyes because this is just... I don't know. It's not a love show. It's another isekai. It's cut from the same cloth as all the other ones.
So I think it's fairly safe to say that I'm well and deserving of the statement today.
It's true.
But look, it is, well, for starters, it's not an isekai. That's kind of the big thing. So it isn't that self-contained world, but it is still the same. It's the same formula.
A likely story.
And it's, it is, the classic, oh my God, Romeo and Juliet, two opposite sides of the armies. They're coming together.
No.
It's really amped the team drama up, and I'm enjoying it.
I do love some teen drama, though.
But the question is whether I will stick with it like I did with Dome Ex Kano or Rent a Girlfriend.
Okay,
Domestic Girlfriend.
So is it
Jamaica
really
and
like rom-com teen drama? Because if it's that kind of trash, I'm into that. If it's
There's
not too isekai trash, then
it's not too isekai. It's quite interesting. Like in the second or third episode, he clearly can't, get off his mind the situation he's been put in. Like if it wasn't so drama driven, this would be a really strong story. Just putting it out
anime.
there. But the problem is, I think for a lot of viewers will find that the background story, which is really interesting, isn't the foreground story it should be.
Oh no, then I'm just going to get angry at it. I'm just going to be like, why aren't we focusing on that?
So, it's a war between the witches and the Empire, but there are still neutral states in between them. And so they go to a neutral city for him to try and get his mind off the battle because he was in prison for releasing a witch. To let her get away because she was a child. Okay,
well, I'm going to ask you one thing, because that all sounds real good. That sounds really interesting. Has there been, in the episodes you've seen so far, has he tripped over and fallen into a particularly well-endowed lady's areas?
Or accidentally walked into the wrong hot springs, because even when they're
no.
Okay, so then I will give it another try.
To be honest, one of the things which has sold me on it is there hasn't been any of that gratuitous content.
Because, I'm down to clown with that content, TM, but it needs to be the time and the place. And when I want a war show about witches and cool magic and stuff, and that's cool. And then I want some drama.
I want
a
witches and the cool magic.
Yeah, I won't lie. The animation is really well done, and the way they handle the politics between the two countries is really well done.
Politics.
But I do wonder if that, when we get to like the episode 5, 6, 7, if that will be become on the back burner as they focus on the two characters.
Yeah, is it going to amp up, or is it going to kind of fall on its own feet, like Rise of the Shield Hero? I'm sorry, I just had something stuck in my throat.
It was slightly circular shaped. Yeah. But on the note of Scumbag system.
Hi. So when you guys were like, hey, what have you been watching this week? And as per last episode, I'm still rewatching Hunter x Hunter. So that's what I've been doing. But I've also been watching a Chinese anime, or a donghua, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, so I'm so sorry to everyone. But
watch out, someone will jump in the comments section and tell us
you know what, that's fine. I'd love to know how to pronounce it properly. Anyway, a Chinese anime called Scumbag System is the English title, but the full title is Scumbag System Self-Saving System, which only makes sense if you kind of know what's up. So there's a guy.
So it's called the SS.
Sure.
SS.
Wow, it is. It's like 5 S's.
It is 5 S's. So I know I just ragged on isekais, but consider this instead. So
is this isekai?
Okay, it is. All right.
Oh.
Okay, my bad. Whoops.
Is the main character spirited away after dying?
Okay, maybe, but
by a truck?
Does he end up having some really good powers? Yeah.
Okay, now I feel embarrassed.
And
anyway,
there's a hot warrior woman waiting on the outside.
Are there some game mechanics involved?
Okay, there are, but this is cool. Okay, shut up. But this time, it's Chinese, guys, and it's gay. So there we go.
Yep,
So,
you got my attention.
So this is a BL series, so Boys Love, by the same novelist that's also bringing out Heaven's Official's Blessing, which is that's being picked up by Funimation, and that's coming out next year sometime. It's really exciting. And if you've also seen on Netflix, it's called The Untamed, which is a live-action adaptation of Modao Zushi, which is her other novels. So these are her 3 novels: Scumbag System, Heaven's Official's Blessing, and Modao Zushi. So in this one, yes, okay, so the guy is a critic of this online novel, and he always reads it, but he always leaves really bad reviews. And he's basically one of those like fans that is a big fan of something but hates it. It's like, oh, I love Game of Thrones, but I hate everything about Game of Thrones kind of thing. And so he dies at his keyboard after he's finished the last chapter, and he gets isekai'd into the book, and he wakes up as the main villain inside the book.
Was he leaving a 2-star review to
Probably,
say that
yeah,
the guy
he was pretty
wasn't,
angry about it.
the
Why
villain
did-
wasn't good enough,
Yeah, pretty
therefore
much.
make me the villain?
Why did he die? Like, what did he die?
I think he choked on a pork bun. I can't really remember, but he choked on something. So he choked anyway. Not the point. He died. He wakes up and he's the villain, and he's like, "Oh no, I just finished the story. I know how the villain ends up in this end of the story. I need to figure out how to befriend the main character so they don't hate me too much because I treat them really badly, and I need to change this so I don't end up where the novel ends up."
So it's sort of similar to
My Life as a Villainess.
Yeah,
it's very similar.
But Boy
very
Love
similar to My Life as a Villainess.
and Isekai, but not in the game. It's now a novel.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the Scumbag system, which is what it is, and the reason why it's a self-saving system, is he can interact basically with the AI, and the AI will be like, "You can't do that. You're being too out of character." And it's like, "But I want to do that. How can I get enough friendship points with the main character?" And because this is the way the novel goes, at least, I don't think that the anime will go this way, but they do, he's like trying to, and he basically ends up accidentally romancing the main character, and the main character ends up falling for him instead when he's like, "Oh, I didn't plan this." So it's actually quite sweet. But this is on YouTube, and you can access it on YouTube. They're putting episodes up every week, which is really
Keep your
exciting.
eyes out for the 4Kids dub of this. Obviously, it
please
will not
don't.
be the. It will no longer be a pork bun. It will be a jelly donut.
A jelly donut, everyone. But yeah, no, it's good. But you will be a little shocked because it is in full CG. And when you first look at it, you might be like, I'm not into this. But it does kind of look like a really, really pretty, like Dynasty Warriors style, like game cutscene.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it looks kind of like a video game in a way, which works for what it is.
Yeah.
I could use a good CG anime to take away the aftertaste of Dragon's Dogma anime on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we will not talk about that.
Yeah.
But it is fun, and it's funny. Like it's a comedy. So yeah,
That's
give
good.
it a try.
That's what you want. All right. Well, let's. We do need to talk about Halloween because it is here,
Spooky
and that means
Halloween.
candy. And this episode is all about those shows that are going to rot your teeth. And I'm just going to reach over here to. We're not sponsored, but I got sent a big Tokyo treat box.
Candy,
Which is literally
Whoa.
full
Oh my God.
of Halloween-themed
what's
candies.
this?
My partner sent this to me, and I was just like, "Oh, man."
This is
So this is
lovely.
like
There's
a
a lot.
caramel corn
Yeah.
like potato chips.
So this is kind of what got us talking about this because Japan, even though they're not, big on Halloween, they
But they
still
love
do
Halloween.
it on for they have the Halloween trains in Tokyo.
Cthulhu's beard. This is the pumpkin pie Kit Kats.
Well,
I've got
would you be-
taro pocky.
Yeah, would you be interested in a zombie taiyaki fish?
It's, oh my gosh, it's green.
It's green.
That's so
it's,
cute.
It's horrifying. It's
what's
green, sort of grey, depending. Oh, it's green and grey on each side.
This has got
But-
Evie on it with a little witch hat.
So for some reason, Japan loves their Halloween
Creme
candies.
brulee.
Creme brulee
iced tea.
Lipton
Yeah.
iced tea.
So we
Crack
thought it
that
would be
open
really
right now.
cool to go and talk and look at all the sugary shows that there are because there are a lot.
I love Japan.
So
I don't say it enough. I love Japan.
I love Japan. So we will dig
too.
into this and we'll be right back after we get into the anime news.
Making headlines.
Really?
Sort of.
Anime news.
Well, we're going to start off talking about a soy sauce flavored chip called Chip Star. No, I'm kidding. This is not sponsored by Tokyo Treat. I wish we were, but we're not sponsored by anyone. We're wholly independent, except for Aaron, who we think might actually be sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
What, just him personally?
Just
His
him
existence?
personally, his existence. But let's talk about what's been making news this fortnight. And this is kind of a bit of a big important one. Sony
This
could
is
be
nuts.
buying Crunchyroll.
Ooh.
This just happened today. This went up today.
Yeah, this has come up in the last 24 hours. Now, this is something that has been in the works in the business realm, but it hasn't really been well known about in the anime community until the last couple of weeks. So, Nikkei Asia, who are basically they're a business group over in Southeast Asia, reported Sony has been entered into final negotiations to acquire Crunchyroll, spending more than 100 billion yen. That's about 957 million US. Now,
wow,
it's so much money.
It's a lot of money. Now, the funny thing here is that the tech website The Information reported in August that AT&T, who currently own Crunchyroll, offered it to Sony for 1.5 billion, so an extra 50% on top of what this is coming through.
Yeah.
And they stated that Sony reportedly said nah at the price because that effectively meant every person on the streaming service, every subscriber was worth $500. And that's just not true.
Wow, that's so much.
I'm worth like at least 6 times more than that.
Well, like,
just
okay,
my kidney is worth
Technically, yes.
Crunchyroll's like what, 30 Australian-ish?
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, and
Maybe it's not even that much.
It's not even that much.
It's like 20.
It's about 20,
Yeah.
and it's in the US. I think it's about 15 a month for the base tier.
Okay, but then they've come back and they're going to give them $1 billion anyway.
Well, it sounds like AT&T went and shopped it to lots of other places, and everyone else went nah, because they didn't believe the evaluation of it, and they've again gone back to Sony and said, "Look, Sony, you've got the exclusive rights to negotiate us for what you think Crunchyroll is, and we will have the end say of whether it's a yay or a nay." But the big question really here is, why is Sony going to buy it, considering Sony are already the prime owners of Funimation?
They just want to buy up everything? They want to own everything? Like,
yeah,
why?
I think it might just be another big corporate grab, monopolizing.
Yeah, so it's the question of are we going to see the equivalent of the Disney takeover with Marvel and the other things that are brought in with Fox? Then that's kind of the concern, isn't it? Like, are we going to see a reduction in the amount? I mean, it could be good from a consumer point of view.
Yeah.
But it would not necessarily be good for the anime industry as a whole.
I mean, maybe, because if you think about, like, let's just say they do buy Crunchyroll and then they just release everything in all of the catalogs, and maybe they can charge a little more, or maybe they'll make their own streaming service that's got all of Sentai and all of just Funimation, everything, just on one streaming service, which actually wouldn't that be worse for them, because then they'd lose people?
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. This can go a lot of ways, but the main way I see it going is because Sony don't currently own all of Funimation. They're just the majority shareholder.
Yeah.
This would immediately give them full access to the entire Crunchyroll system worldwide. That means they might then sell Funimation, and the question is, who buys Funimation?
Well, then why would they bother selling Funimation?
They've just literally acquired and consolidated all of Funimation.
Well, then wouldn't it make more sense that they're buying both so they can consolidate both?
And if they consolidate them, that means that they can set the market price for animation for what they're willing to pay, meaning that could,
because they got the monopoly on it. I wonder what's going to happen to Crunchyroll Expo then, because if Crunchyroll is just going to be operating under Sony as its own thing still, they could probably still go ahead with it.
Oh yeah.
But if not, like if Sony changes it around,
yeah, this could all be really, really good or really, really bad.
Or it could make no difference. It could literally just be like Unilever, they own everything.
To be honest, it could not even happen. That's the point we're at. Like this is just the information we've been given by Nikkei Asia. So whether or not that means it will go through, whether it's negotiations. I mean, often these sort of negotiations don't get announced until they're done. So it does make you wonder if maybe this is being put out there to make someone else interested in maybe just chipping Sony's value.
We're gonna buy this. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
It could be AT&T going, Sony's going to buy it. Would you pay more than this? Because this is our bottom offer, basically, and Sony isn't actually going to buy it.
So what we're asking, dear listeners, is if everyone could just wire $1 billion US each to the Kawaii-Fi PayPal, then we could own Crunchyroll.
It'll be called Kawaii-Fi Lab.
Kawaii-Fi roll. Crunchyroll. Wait. Crunchy Lab.
Crunchy-Fi roll. I'm down for this.
Crunch-Fi.
Crunch-Fi.
Okay, that's fine. We'll
we'll
workshop it,
workshop
guys.
the
Don't
name.
worry. But yeah, just anytime you just want to send money through, feel free.
Or, I mean, maybe if Tokyo Treat want to sponsor. No.
Okay, all right.
No, I was
Okay,
wrong.
I'm
It was an apple pie Kit Kat.
Oh, you're looking through the guide.
Yes.
So
Kenny,
let's
focus on the task at hand. There's important things to talk about, like
Kaguya-sama Season 3.
That is important.
Season 3.
Yes.
It's very important. Now, this has been announced in the past fortnight. The official Twitter account for Kaguya-sama Love is War's TV anime announced on I think it was Sunday just gone, that the anime will get a third season as well as an OVA project. Now, OVA project doesn't suggest it's just a single episode.
Yeah, it could just be like, it could be, well,
could
probably
be
not a movie. It's probably just
maybe
like,
2 or 3 specials.
it could even be 6. Like we've seen OVAs that
Yeah.
like have like a full-on mini arc.
You know
I
what
don't
we
know.
haven't seen of Kaguya-sama? A
What?
beach episode.
It's probably just going to be a lot of beach
Haven't we?
episodes. That's what the OVA.
Pretty sure we
Okay,
haven't.
I swear
I'm
we
gonna put like $20 on that right now. It's gonna have a beach
You're putting
episode of the OVAs.
$20 on the beach
Or Hot
episode
Springs.
or Hot Springs.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it as the summer break. I reckon.
But that's both beach
Oh.
and hot springs as well.
I am going to put money on a holiday to somewhere foreign.
Okay, so we got a
Sort
holiday.
of like how K-On! Went to London.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
so
so
holiday. I say
Well, actually, here's the question: is it going to be something from the manga, or will be it's an
it's
OVA?
new.
It's an original.
new.
So this could be literally anything. So beach episode,
I'm going fan surf
holiday.
beach episode or hot springs. Yeah.
I'm going to say probably I agree on a trip, but I don't think international. I think they're going to go to Kyoto.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
it's going to be a trip somewhere within Japan to a
Trip
well-known
locally.
location.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
that's
you
my
might
bet.
have it because Kyoto is very, very traditional.
Yeah.
so-
Unless I don't know. They could. It's an OVA. They could do what they want.
I mean, yeah, it's either Kyoto or in your case, Okinawa, or in my case, I don't know, Paris.
Yeah.
Well, the Paris could work considering they had that whole episode about the
Japan
Paris,
loves Paris
thing. Yeah.
so much.
But look, this is the OVAs will launch in 2021. Third season should be coming after that, which means 3 years in a row we're getting Kaguya-sama.
Do you guys know,
Wicked.
this is so incredibly random and off topic, but did you know that's actually like in the Japanese embassy in Paris, they've got like a particular place for people that go to Paris from Japan, and these Japanese tourists are so surprised that it's not like this beautiful Monet style, like Parisian Western wonderland, that they kind of have culture shock. And this is a phenomenon that happens so often that they have people like allocated to deal with the Japanese
no.
tourists that come from Japan, which is clean and where people, like to clean up their city. And, Paris, if you've been there, it's dirty.
Yeah.
Gosh darn.
Right.
Gosh
I think
darn,
it has
it's
a
dirty.
charm of its own, but
It's got a charm
it's
of its
no
own, but
Tokyo.
there's nothing stopping anyone
the
going
Japanese
from
tourists go there and they're like,
using
oh
a
my gosh.
wall on a street as a
so
location to
dirty.
relieve themselves.
And they freak out and they have to go and like chill in the Japanese embassy. Anyway, that's just maybe
That's-
that's what
that's
the
interesting
OVA is about.
So you're telling me Kaguya's going to get culture shock?
I could see it.
Maybe.
I could
Actually.
see
I could see
Kaguya
it.
getting that.
I get
Okay.
$100
Well-
if that happens.
Okay, fair. Let's talk about something that got you really excited. though.
Hello, I'm here to talk
Yes.
about it's 2021's coming and something that I never thought would ever happen.
A meteor.
No,
Basically, for me, was Clamp, which is the big mangaka group. Tokyo Babylon, one of their oldest mangas, is getting an anime adaptation. And this is incredibly wild. And maybe there's only like 1% of anime fans that are also with me in the freaking out zone because it's just so old and it's
Well, I mean, the
Just
original
so
manga
strange
series,
of a
I mean,
pickup.
admittedly it went through a couple, didn't actually finish the story, did it?
Yeah, so Tokyo Babylon is a self-contained story, but it's the prequel, or you could say X is the sequel because it came out second, and X is their really, really big work that was huge, and it was all about the battle for the Earth and those magical powers and supernatural things and death and war, and it was amazing, and then they literally finished it. Well, I say finished. It went on permanent hiatus. Hiatus?
Hiatus.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It went on permanent pause. Just as pretty much they said, and now the battle between the dragons of Earth and the dragons of the sky, I can't remember. It happens now, and that was the end.
Yeah. Which
That
is,
was the
that's a
end.
horrible thing to do.
That is.
But anyway,
yeah.
Tokyo Babylon is a self-contained prequel, so it's fine. But
look,
it's
Clamp
very
is,
important to
like,
me.
If you aren't aware of Clamp have done some incredible works that have been adapted to anime over the years.
Cardcaptor Sakura, Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, Angelic Layer, Chobits.
Yep, but the thing that piqued mine and Kenny's attention on this is the studio behind it. Studio Gohans.
I have no idea who this is.
Uh,
Oh no! Please don't hurt my baby.
So-
This manga's so important to me.
they were responsible for a couple of ones which are.
Shall we say not very well received?
They
Okay.
have notoriety in the anime community for
How
just
bad?
being.
Okay, they made
Hit
a
me.
series called Handholders.
No, what?
Was it Handholders? Handshakers.
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 Which was
Oh my
bad.
God, that's-
They then
oh
made
no.
WZ or Wiz.
No.
Or W. Z, which was like a sequel to...
No.
Well, they were like, it's definitely not related to hand
remember
shakers.
this.
It totally
and then
is.
It totally is. It's
I
a
didn't.
sequel.
I didn't watch it because I heard it was
It's
so
bad.
bad.
It's shocking.
I have watched a little bit of it. It's interesting. Stylistically, it's very,
interesting.
very different from anything you've ever
but the PV
seen.
looks really good. The Tokyo Babylon PV looks good.
Well, look, here's the
yeah.
thing.
I'm so scared now.
Look, here's the thing. Like, I think Gohan's, whenever they do an original anime, it ends up being the same thing. And that's the issue, because both WZ and
I think
Handshakers were
I think it's a
original
passion
animes.
project that the guy who put it forward didn't actually get to perfect. I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah, but the obsession with the hands.
I mean, actually, hands are really important, and it's a common theme through a lot of Clamp's works, actually. So are eyes. Anyway, weird.
Yeah, but look, I mean,
yeah,
this.
ugh,
Look,
fingers crossed.
I'm interested to see how this goes, because while Gohan's, when they do stuff on their own, isn't very good, the stuff they have been involved in as second and first animator groups have been great. They've been involved in like Neon Genesis.
Okay.
They've been involved in Black Lagoon. There's a lot.
I mean,
There's
that's a long
lot.
time ago. But I'm excited for it, but I'm scared. But I'll run you through what the summary of Tokyo Babylon is, and just imagine a small Loz, a young weeb, and walking into our really like old Perth that doesn't even exist anymore, Tokyo Underground store, and there's like all of the manga volumes of Tokyo Babylon were sitting in like a bargain bin, and I was like, I could get that for me, and so with my little pocket monies, and I bought the manga, and it was so important to me, and it kickstarted my love of Clamp. I'm like obsessed with Clamp. I've collected all of their works, even like out of print art books and stuff like that as well. So this is very important to me. And this is the summary. So it's 1991, which is the year I was born. Great year.
She's so young.
Oh, shut up. And it's the last days of Japan's bubble economy. Money and elegance run through the streets. So it's basically Japan's bubbles has burst, and it's kind of going down the toilet a bit. It's people were used to success, and now it's running low. People are running low on money, and Japan's not doing great. So do the current of darkness between Japan kind of run underneath the streets, and there's all these evil spirits running about, and people are depressed because of the economy bust as well. So there's people who are talented in the spirit arts called Onmyoji.
Omyoji?
Yeah, look, it's that word that you're a spirit occultist, and you're basically someone who combats evil spirits that come around when people like are depressed or angry and such like that as well. And the teenage heir to the Sumeragi clan is Subaru, and he's got his Hokuto, who's his twin sister, and it's also their friend who's Seishiro, and they basically fight these bad spirits together. And they're all tied into this twisted fate, very red string of fate kind of stuff.
Very cool.
Intriguing.
But yeah, look, I'll be interested to see how this ends up in 2021. I mean, it's crazy to be saying that, isn't it? Because it feels like it was only yesterday that we're talking about the start of 2020.
I'm excited for 2021. Let's do 2020 again. It'll be the first time we do 2020.
So it'll be
2020 the first.
2020's first annual birthday.
Yes, that's it. Exactly. We'll override the first one.
So it's just going to be kind of like how hotels don't have a 13th floor because it's bad luck. So
Yeah,
just skip
exactly.
Sure.
Neither do ships, actually, for that matter. So there you go. But yes, look, that's what we're talking about, at least for this one. But let's talk about the other news. Well, the other things that have been making news this fortnight. Well, I'm afraid we have to start with some bad news for anime fans in Texas. The Anime Frontier Convention has been delayed again, this time until December 2021. The new convention, which is powered by Crunchyroll, was originally scheduled for this May before being pushed back 12 months. But with the ongoing pandemic, the organisers have decided to move the convention again as conditions in the United States have worsened. As with almost every event delayed by COVID, tickets are transferable to the new event or a refund request can be made. Straight over to Netflix, and a lot has been announced by the streaming giant this fortnight. Netflix have announced several major partnerships with a swath of new anime studios, including MAPPA, Science Saru, Studio Naz, and South Korean studio Mer, adding to their ever-growing list of anime partners, meaning more projects are on the way. Alongside these new agreements, there's also been plenty of announcements from their 2020 Anime Festival this week, all slated for release in 2021. The first look at the upcoming Godzilla Singular Point anime series is out, giving us a much better idea of how this hybrid anime is going to look. JC staff have unveiled the first artwork for the upcoming adaptation of Ono Kosuke's Way of the House Husband, David Productions have given us a look at the new Spriggan anime series, and Polygon Pictures' CG-style take on Pacific Rim The Black has also been confirmed, with franchise owners Legendary Entertainment also on board. Also announced at the event, the fourth arc of the WIT Studios' Great Pretender series will land on the service outside of Japan on November 25th, with episodes 15 to 23 bringing the series to an end. Let's talk about some wider anime announcements. The Pokemon Twilight Wings short-form anime will be getting a new episode this November on their YouTube channel called The Gathering of Stars. Not much is known about the content yet, but it may be to do with the recent expansions released for the Pokemon Sword and Shield games in which the anime is set. A new season of World Trigger is also in the works, with a returning cast and crew on board and a new series director, Hatano Moroi. The franchise's third series will air from January 9 in Japan. And of all the things we weren't expecting in 2020, a new Hetalia anime is on the way, along with the manga resuming and a new manga in the works. The Hetalia World Stars manga is inspiring the new anime planned for spring 2021, with a full returning cast at Studio Dean. Heading to the bookshelves, Rap Battle Idol series Hypnosis Mike is getting 3 new manga titles launching in January, following on from the franchise's previous entries. One of the new mangas will focus on the creation of the division, and the other 2 appearing to focus on several of the crews. Fans of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid can look forward to a new spin-off series from November 25th, with a new manga series focusing on the otaku dragon Fafnir. And if you've been waiting for a JoJo manga announcement from Viz Media, we've got some great news. Viz Media has confirmed it will be releasing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Golden Wind, in digital and hardcover print starting summer 2021. And in dub news, Funimation have announced dubs are in the work for several of this season's animes. Assault Lily Bouquet, Our Last Crusade, Yashahime, and The Day I Became a God are all in the works, with the full cast list on the Funimation website. And that's your anime news for the week ending November 1st, 2020.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Back catalogue.
We're starting off in a very family-friendly location for this episode today.
A very soft, sweet, fua place.
A very fua place.
Yeah.
It's very lovely. This is, I'm going to probably say this wrong, but Yumeiro Patissiere.
That's probably how you pronounce it.
Oh, nailed it.
I'm going to say Yumeiro Patisserie because I'm a bad person. I don't know.
That's definitely not patisserie.
Look. Shut up, Kyle. Fine. Every time I say Yumeiro Patisserie, you can just blank that out, and then you can either put like a beep, or you can just have yourself saying it in the fancy French. It's definitely supposed to be French.
Yumeiro Patisserie.
Yumeiro Patissiere.
Hon baguette.
Hon baguette.
Look,
Yep, that's
I did
great.
French in primary school, like most of us, and that's it.
You did French in primary school?
What did you do?
Indonesian.
Oh, that's so much better.
No, it isn't.
No,
Yes,
it
it
wasn't because
is.
the teachers were terrible.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like Australia's
Can't
right
confirm.
next to Indonesia. That makes more sense.
Oh,
What am I
look,
going to do with French?
Don't get me wrong, it did make sense, but it wasn't done well. So, look, let's talk about
Anyway.
this. So, this is about
I
a
ain't
girl
going
who
to
works
India.
in a patisserie.
It is not about that at all, but
No.
you clearly didn't do your homework,
No,
Kyle.
I know. I'm just taking the mickey. So this was originally a manga from 2008 to 2013, 12 volumes, about 5 chapters a volume, which means this was a monthly manga. And that was created by Natsumi Matsumoto. The anime was done by Studio Pierrot and Studio Hibari.
Big anime too, full 50 episode thing.
Yeah, full 50 episodes.
With a 13-episode sequel.
Aha.
And it was originally in Ribbon magazine, which is a huge shoujo
Yeah.
girls magazine. So yeah, very, very big.
Now, you've probably heard of Studio Pierrot. That's Naruto, Bleach, Great Teacher Onizuki, Black Clover, pretty much most shonen shows.
And ghost stories.
Oh, no.
It returns
It is back.
from the grave.
Just in time for Halloween. Studio Hibari, you might not have heard of. They're
Never
mostly
heard
a
of them.
support studio, but they actually worked on Nausicaa,
Oh.
Kiki's Delivery Service,
What?
Major Season 1 to 3, and their original series, Sumomomomo, which I did watch and ended up going, no.
What?
Yep, it's a very strange one. But Studio Hibari mostly do support, and my understanding was that in this case, they were there with Pierrot. I can word.
Piero?
Piero.
Piero.
Studio Piero.
Piero.
Just
Piero.
think French. Hon.
So, Yumeiro Patissiere, Studio Piero. There we go.
Cool.
I got that now. Piero.
Again, I'm just gonna butcher everything.
Just butcher everything. But look, this is really sweet.
This
Both
is an adorable
in
show.
sugar content and soft loveliness.
Let's take
And
Absolutely.
it is designed to be kid friendly. It's designed to be a show that kids can watch. It's something that, to be honest, I'm really surprised 4Kids didn't grab.
Yeah, this would have been a really good pickup to put on like Toonami or something like that because it is a really like friendly, bubbly show. But I don't know.
It has kind of like undertones of Food Wars without the
This did Food Wars before Food Wars did Food Wars.
Exactly.
Out Food Wars.
Dun, dun,
in a
dun.
G rating.
Without, it's a G-rated kind of
Yes,
food. They had that whole
absolutely.
kind of like there's the stakes of winning the grand contests and stuff like that, but they are baking delicious and pretty
Little cakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this show it's just super sweet. It's overly saccharine, like very prime example of that 2000s like anime style. So huge eyes, like where the eyes take up half of the face, like fluttering rose petals everywhere, like soft color palette. It's just a very classic shoujo.
And even that manga really embraced that look with the
Yeah.
eyes, with like those huge eyes, the small mouth. Like the eyes take up half of the face.
Yeah, it was
Classic
from
shoujo.
kind of like that more innocent age of anime, wasn't it?
Back in the day.
Back in the day,
Before
because
the Fire Nation.
we went we went really hardcore with Berserk and Neon Genesis, and then we went, no, let's go back to Innocence for a while.
Well, like I feel a lot of shows that like a lot of anime coming out now goes for a real realist style. Like we don't see a lot of that doki kind of
Yeah,
really
that's
cutesy
true.
look anymore. So yeah, it's very nostalgic for me. But if you haven't seen a lot of shows like that, you might be like, "What's up with her eyes? Why is it so cute?" Anyway, but
And to
it's
that I
very
say
sweet.
to you, that's generationalist.
That's just you just don't understand.
You just don't understand my generation, man.
But if you like, if you're looking for a cute show to wash away like life's problems, you might want to try something like this. If you enjoyed coming of age stories that base around like a middle school or high school girl like Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, or like Shugo Chara.
Sailor Moon. I was going to say
Feels
Sailor Moon.
like
It
that.
looks like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it
kind
does.
of got that similar kind of a girl's going on a journey in some way, whether that she's going through cooking school or she's becoming Sailor Moon and saving the world.
Except that she's not as bad as Sailor Moon. The
Well,
character.
look, like I think something that is really quintessential for a lot of shoujo protagonists, and let's go with Cardcaptor Sakura, Sailor Moon, Shugo Chara, and Yumeiro, Patissiere, is all of those girls have in common and it's the same thing as a lot of shonen protagonists as well. They'll be, inverted commas, just a normal middle schooler, and they don't have a lot to, they're not very good at a lot of things,
Tend
but
to be
they're
clumsy.
a little clumsy, but, they want to try their best.
The
and
kind of girl that would run to school with a piece of
piece of toast in her mouth because she's a bit
I
late
thought you were
because
going
she's
to
a
say
little
a pair of scissors
scatterbrain.
for some reason.
I know it's Halloween, but these are sweet and cute girls.
Sweet.
There's no scissors.
There's also sweet princes.
There are sweet princes, and anyway, so we're getting ahead of
We're
ourselves.
getting
But
ahead of
that
ourselves.
kind of sweet, kind of trying her best kind of girl protagonist. But it's mixed with the Food Wars style of the Culinary Academy. So as opposed to Food Wars, where they kind of fight with whoever wins the food battle and makes the best dish, they get to, in the Shokugeki, they get to win and the other person gets expelled. This is obviously a lot more chill, and it's just like a competition between, classmates, and then eventually like it's an international competition as well, and it's all very supportive and lovely. But
So essentially this is like that reality TV show Nailed It, where they try to make cake and fail.
No, because they don't fail.
Oh,
Because
okay.
the reason why they don't fail, and I'm going to give you a rundown of the plot, and you can jump in when you say something's a bit weird and you're like, what's up with that, Laura? I'll tell you in a
Okay.
sec. So it follows Ichigo, who's your usual kind of shoujo protagonist, as I was saying. She's in middle school. She has no real talents, but she has big dreams. She wants to be able to make the perfect strawberry tart just like her grandmother once made her. It's the type of tart that can make you smile, make everyone else smile, and kind of wash away your worries. One day, Ichigo stumbles upon a sweets festival where she meets the beautiful Henry sensei, who says, wow, you've got a great sense of taste, and you might be the granddaughter of this amazing person.
Wait, so
and
is he French?
No, we're not. This, don't even worry about that. This is the most basic. Yes, he is French. And he basically says, you should come to Sainte Marie Academy where you should become a pastry chef. And she's like, okay, let's do that. So she does that, and she goes there, and she immediately gets put in the top tier class with all of the pretty boys, the sweets princes, because they're amazing. And she's like, wait, I don't know how to cook. I'm here to learn how to cook. I don't know the first thing about making cakes. So what happens next, guys? Well,
let me guess that it becomes a reverse harem.
No. What's your guess?
I'm still stuck on the French Henry's guy being Henry.
Before we do move
both
on,
wrong.
I'm sorry,
before
but
we do
continue.
continue, just going back to I would like to compare the difference to how you've put a synopsis compared to the way Mal wrote it, my anime list.
Well, I haven't got to the best bit.
Yeah,
yet.
we should,
No. My anime list's opening line is, aside from her deep passion for eating cake.
She does have a deep passion for cake.
I mean, who doesn't?
Okay.
She's got a deep passion for cake. And that's another big drive. She wants to become a great pastry chef that can make other people smile, and she can't do that because she doesn't know anything about making cakes.
Fair.
So she prays to the statue that's in front of the school and says, dear sweet spirit lady, please give me the strength to make cakes.
And it replies, I need a blood sacrifice.
And it replies by giving her a fairy.
Oh.
And so she gets a fairy companion, and she gets called Vanilla, and she's got it's very similar to Shugo-chara.
I was going to say, this is reminding me of Shugo-chara.
And a lot of
Shugo-chara,
other kind of
which-
animal companions in Precure and stuff like that as well, or like Luna and Sailor Moon. So she gets her little fairy called Vanilla, who's this cute little pink fairy, and she helps teach her how to make things.
Well,
but
they say vanilla is the finest of the flavors.
it is, but it's really sweet because the fairies don't do it for her, like in
That's
Lakota
good.
de Oro, which is another thing where a shoujo protagonist has no talent, but then the fairy gives her magical violin powers, and all of a sudden she can make music. That's a wild show.
Yeah.
But the fairy basically teaches her what to do, and then she has to get there on her own merit. Like, she has to try hard. So I really like this show because it's about Ichigo trying her best.
Yeah, because
throughout
a lot of the shows that we see, it's a case of, you've been imbued with my power.
Yeah, have
And
some power and now
not
you're great.
It's not about your own growth. It's about the focus on, someone's going to come along and make your life great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take some of the classics like, say, Naruto. It's like, someone could identify with Naruto on his character or for his beliefs, but oh yeah, by the way, he's like he has superpowers. This sort of more
I'd say
appeals
Ichigo
to...
from Bleach is
I
probably
would say
a better
Ichigo
example.
from
Yeah.
Bleach is probably better than some, because Naruto at least has to work for that.
Yeah.
He has to go through a lot. Poor
But
baby.
it's like this one is she's getting guidance from the
Yes.
supernatural, but it's still her own two hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
And
There's
it's very
something nice
sweet.
about that. I like that.
There's like a friendly rivalry between her and like the school's blonde prince, and he immediately is like, oh, we are useless, you have no idea what you're doing. But through her hard work and determination, eventually feelings form, and it's very soft and very darling.
What a charmer.
It's
yeah,
very lovely.
You're not very good.
You're not good at anything.
You're not good at anything.
Oh my god,
Baka.
he was negging her.
He was nagging her, literally.
Basically. But that's how it goes. And it's very sweet. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this show.
Yeah?
Like, absolutely. Like, when I first watched it like a few years ago, I watched all 50 episodes and I really had a good time because it does, like, the story does travel over time, the characters grow, and when you finish the series at 50 episodes, you're like, wow, they actually got somewhere. It's not just like a lot of shoujo series that just they're in the same place when they finish. Like, the boy and the girl still aren't together and they haven't changed at all.
But they grew a little closer.
As
Just a little, as
yeah.
friends.
Whereas this actually goes somewhere, and there is a sequel that's like got a bit of time skip that's set after they graduate, and that's really cool as well. So
wow.
yeah, I really like this show.
Yeah.
If you like the idea of Shokugeki no Soma or Food Wars, but you don't like the
Gasms.
foodgasms.
If you were looking for something that you can watch without your partner feeling uncomfortable or your kids walking in and going,
Or your
what are you
parents.
watching?
Well, this is actually a really good show for kids because they do teach you how to make the things as well. Like, you actually learn about all these different, in particular, like a lot of French types of baking and stuff like that as well. So you do actually learn about how to cook sweets.
We do like an anime that does us and educate.
It
love
sounds like
educate.
we probably should have used this for the next episode a little bit, doesn't it? Oh no.
But we don't have any
will-
cooking fairies.
We don't have any cooking fairies, but we will get to that at the end of the show. So look, this is where can you actually watch Yumeiro Patissiere? Because I believe it was Crunchyroll originally, but now it seems like it's restricted to only certain regions.
Yeah, I was really disappointed to find out that this and the other show I'm talking about later, it's actually really hard to find, and I'm really bummed about it. Like, you can buy it in America from Sentai, I think.
Yeah.
And it is on American Crunchyroll, but...
Yeah.
Whoops.
Not
Sorry, guys.
international,
It's actually
yeah.
kind of difficult to find, and I was really bummed about it. I managed to find it on YouTube, but, please don't sue us, I guess.
We're not promoting anything.
Yeah, something like this will take a bit of a digging. Sorry about that, listeners. It's we like to tell you guys where we find these things for streaming. And
I mean, if you do know somewhere we can watch it, please drop it in the comments, because we did do a bit of a search, but we're human, we're not infallible. We might have missed something pretty simple.
You can buy it. You can buy it on Amazon. It's easy to purchase, but in terms of streaming, it's actually quite difficult.
All right. Well, I think we should probably move on to the next one, and this is also quite sugary, but for a different reason. And you might get a hint from this.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Back catalogue.
now this one's a classic. I remember you being absolutely taken by this one, Kyle.
Still obsessed. Manga still isn't translated.
What?
Yep. It was being fan translated for a while there, and they got up to like chapter, I think like 10 from the end, and then some other fan subber came along and started doing it from the end back, and everyone just was like, "But now we know the end. Why are you doing this?"
Wait, they started at the last chapter and went backwards. I've never heard of that.
Yep, it's
Never
happened
heard of
to
anyone
it happens
doing
to a few ones, and it's normally when someone decides to start fan subbing a manga because they're annoyed that the current subbers aren't doing it quick enough because it's all been released.
Again, please don't sue us, guys.
No. Well, it hasn't got an English release. We are talking about Dagashi Kashi. A little bit of candy, as it means. It's got 186 chapters in the manga, ran from 2014 to 2018, and it was written by Kotoyama. That's just their pen name. They don't have any other name, just they are the Kotoyama.
Interesting.
It ran in Shonen Sundays, and if you probably would have seen some of the characters pop up around 2016. It would have been.
I remember seeing it, but I never watched
with
it.
crazy circular eyes and a very different look. Now, this is literally a series about Japanese candy. So Dagashi is the Japanese cheap treats. Now, if you grew up in Australia, and I suspect we had this in America and the UK as well, if memory serves me right, you might remember being able to go down to like your local deli and there'd be like a vast selection of treats, which were maybe 5 or 10 cents
Oh my
each.
gosh,
Yes.
those red clouds for like 5 cents.
Exactly.
Oh, we had the tuck shop. Everyone would go there
Yeah.
after school and say, I'll have like 50 cents worth of cobbers, 50 cents worth of red clouds, a couple of rainbow straps.
Sour
I love
straps,
those.
yes.
Exactly. And this is something that seems to have been a universal idea around the world through
Cute.
candy. But the way it evolved in Japan was a dedicated store, which was a Dagashi store. And Dagashi literally means cheap candy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And this is all about a Dagashi shop in the country. So in the countryside stands a sweet shop run by the Cata family for 9 generations. It's Cata Dagashi, Cata,
It's a really
Cata.
old store.
A small business selling traditional Japanese candy. However, despite the father's plea, Kokonatsu Shikada, his name is Kokonatsu, and everyone just calls him Coconuts.
Coconut?
He's an
Coconuts.
aspiring manga artist and refuses to inherit the family business from his father because he wants to tread his own path. Now, this all starts to change when Hotaru Shidare arrives. She is the heir to the famous Shidare Sweets Company, a major
Ooh.
sweets manufacturer in Japan. Hotaru is in search of Kokonatsu's father, who's known as Yo, and the goal is to bring him back to work for her family's company to develop sweets because of his knowledge. And while Yo initially refuses, he says he'll change his mind if Hotaru can convince Coconuts to take over the shop.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's
so
cute.
Hotaru's mission to enlighten the boy on the true joys of delicious and nostalgic Dagashi begins.
Aw.
And it's really sweet.
That's really cute. That's really different to what I thought it was. I thought it was just like cute. I thought it was one of those kind of four coma style, like cute girls doing cute things, just kind of eating candy. But that
No.
actually has a lot of story and substance. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and this is the thing as well. It's like it's from a proper manga. It's not a full coma manga either, even though they do have occasional full coma ones. And each chapter of the manga, all 186 of them, focus on a specific Dagashi.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
it is promoting it, but there is still an underlying story.
So kind of imagine sort of like an entire episode talking about the origin of the red cloud candy.
I'd watch that.
I would do, and I did. And I watched 2 seasons of it, but this was something a little strange. So I don't know what happened between 2016 and 2018. There are 2 seasons of this show. The first season in 2016 was created by Studio Feel. It ran for 12 episodes, 25-minute episodes a pop. Pretty big animation budget, looked really nice. Then in 2018, season 2 came out. 12-minute episodes.
Oh.
Done by Tezuka Productions.
Huh.
Production quality substantially lower. And that's unusual for Tezuka. I mean, it wasn't that the quality was lower. It was just, I shouldn't say it was lower. It was just very different. It didn't seem like they brought the cast along. So the character designs were slightly different. So I wonder if something happened.
I swear I remember reading somebody died. And I can't remember what I'm actually trying to Google it right now. But somebody did pass away, and I can't remember who it was.
The thing is that at this point in the story, they already had all the content they needed, and they skipped a load of content for season 2 to focus on, because obviously, you know, they did 150 chapters of them just talking about candy. And while the story was moving, it wasn't moving much.
Yeah,
and then the 25 chapters following that, the story does accelerate.
Yeah, one of the things I couldn't really get into it as much as you did with it was that the actual main plot about the 2 character kind of interacting, who's going to sort of like will their way out of doing what the other one wants, is the story seemed very inconsequential next to the advertising of the candy, which I feel like that's what this was all about.
Once again, this was doing us an educate.
Exactly.
This whole this episode should have been what has Japan taught us.
But the second season was a bit more focused on the actual plot and the drama and the character interactions.
So in season 1, each episode was kind of split into 3 parts, and covering each part covered a chapter. So you'd get 3 candy per episode, and this was great for groups like Tokyo Treat, which is why we mentioned them, because they did Dagashi Kashi boxes.
Yes.
Which were you go, this is episode 1 to 3, and inside it has all of the candy from it.
That's so fun.
And I can't remember what the other company was, but there was another one who you can order Japanese sweets and lollies through as well that did the same. Just remember, it was a very bright orange website. I know, bright orange, you would have thought. But the second season was a lot more focused on the character interactions. And to be honest, because it had the shorter runtime, the episodes felt more focused. Whereas, as much as I love that first season, sometimes it did drag on a little bit because you watched a whole episode, you've watched 3 segments essentially, and felt like not much has happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of what that's what I thought it was, like a very slice of life. And as much as I really like some slice of life shows, I find them difficult to be like, I'm going to sit down and watch this. Like Our Days at the Breakwater, that was last season.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed what I watched of it, but I have no desire to watch any more of it because it kind of not a lot happens.
Yeah, I want to say Azumanga Daioh and Lucky Star is another 2 which are just like that. Just sort of like mind-numbingly slice of life chill.
Well, they're also under the umbrella of cute girls doing cute things.
Exactly.
That kind of slice of life. Yeah.
And I mean that's kind of the thing. Like, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for in an anime. And for some of you, this will be a really good show if you haven't seen it, because it'll introduce you to a culture of Japan's, this Japan sweet culture, which has been explored in like some Netflix shows like Kentaro, Sweet Tooth Salaryman, and so on. But this is very much focused on a very traditional part of Japan's culture.
And a very personal piece, you'd say, because like this would be something that every kid would go and sort of get into after school. They'd have their specific favorite. And actually, there was an episode, it's coming back to me now. She was showing them a toy that would come with candy called a Beigoma, which sounds like a Beyblade because it's the predecessor of the Beyblade.
Cool.
It is the original kind of spinning top toy that you'd get.
Yeah. Well, I also remember when they were talking, does go a little bit like Scrubs style comedy. If anyone, for those who have seen Scrubs, I
recall.
It kind of goes a little bit strange, and they're talking about like the whistle candy, and it's like, whistle gum wasn't very good, and then it's like, but then Big Brother Whistle came over and he showed us how to do it, and it's like this thing going, you can do it, and there's these 2 whistle candies, and you're like, what am I watching?
Yeah, she's anthropomorphizing it to try to like hype it up.
Okay, so as a person who did not grow up in Japan and enjoys the Japanese candies when I can get them from across the pond, why should I watch this? Because if I haven't got the nostalgia for any of the candy itself, am I still going to get a lot out of it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's
Because it's very entertaining, even though... especially that first season, not a lot happens in the character develop. Well, the characters do develop, like it does do that, but it's once again, it's the first 3 episodes build the plot, and the last 2 episodes rush it to its end, sort of thing that we've seen a lot, and everything that's in the middle kind of is non-consequential. But it will teach you a lot about how Japan, considering they were isolated from a lot of the world in the 1800s, went about making candies and manufacturing these sort of things completely differently from the rest of the world.
Yeah, because
it's the educational part.
These days they have like Kit Kats of every flavor. They are sort of like something from overseas, which they've then turned into like a major industry. They get like Mars bars and McDonald's and stuff like that. But before they were like trading in ideas and stuff like that, they had their own thing going.
Like a prime example, I didn't actually realize that in Spirited Away, the little sugar candies which would be given to the suit spirits, Competto, I didn't know that was actually a real thing. I thought it was something they made for the show. No, that's a traditional Japanese water candy.
And it kind of ties that whole spiritual world into the real world in that part of the movie as well. It's just like, that's familiar.
Yeah.
Just on Competto, like another Clamp series that no one knows about unless you're a big Clamp fan is a show called Kobato. And like Competto are like also used in that way as not just candy, but they're like the little essence of spirit that like people give out when they're happy, and she has to go around and collect all the like Competto and like make people happy, and it's really cute.
That's really cute. Now this around the same time there was another, I mean we won't go into this one in depth, but Kenny, you've got one that was similar style.
No, it's that,
but
the main character of Dagashi Kashi, Hotaru,
the crossover.
She appears in a different anime.
She does,
Really?
by the same studio.
Yes, there is an anime called Takunomi, which is about
it's about a bunch of young women who are living in Tokyo together in a share house.
They're in a share house. They're working women. They work their office jobs and stuff like that. And the anime is about when they come home from their office job, they like to have a drink.
They like to have a lot of cocktails.
They like to have a lot of cocktails. They make up cocktails.
It actually taught me how to quickly cool a cocktail.
Anime teaches us once
Anime
again.
teaches us once again.
Yeah.
But it's that one of them was talking about where she learned one. And she learned it from Hotaru, allegedly.
In a Dagashi Kashi store.
Dagashi
store.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like a side story.
Yeah, but it's not actually connected. But for some reason, I think it must have been referenced.
I think they are connected. I think this is the beginning of the anime cinematic universe.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, you mean Fate?
No.
No.
Alrighty.
Nope.
So look, Dagashi Kashi is on most of the Funimation services last time I checked. I'd be very surprised if it's not, because it does have a dub. But we can highly recommend checking it out. But that does bring us to our third and final one, and it has a bit of a yeasty texture, I might say. Is that the wrong phrase
That's
to use?
the wrong
Yes.
phrase. Yeah,
Okay,
I think.
bread. We're talking about bread.
それは神のみぞ知る
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Back catalog.
So, just to be clear, we're not talking about a bakery. We're talking about a bakery, Antique Bakery. We are not talking about a brewery or anything
Okay.
else that could be
I'm
misconstrued
just
as.
going to make a decision for the team, and that is, Kyle, you're fired. Kenny and I run the podcast now.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all
not
over.
us, it's you.
You are banned.
I'm
for
banned. All right, so
5
let's talk
minutes.
Antique Bakery. This is a shoujo comedy Shonen Ai series.
Correct.
Came out in 2008. So,
Yeah, so
quite,
it's
quite
another
early
kinda-
on for the Shonen Ai
Yeah.
genre, yeah.
Kind of another like mid 2000s go. Antique Bakery is an older boys love manga, and if you're old like me and you're reading boys love in the mid 2000s, Antique Bakery was a pretty big name, particularly for a lot of Western readers. It was one of the first kind of, well, it's not the first, but it was one of those.
But one of the more accessible ones at that time.
It was actually printed for one. It was available in English, and the mangaka Fumi Yoshinaga, she is quite prolific in BL, and she's written a lot of it. Now, when I say boys love, obviously that means it's a story which centers around a homosexual romance between men.
It's big gay.
It's a bit gay,
It's a
yeah,
bit gay,
absolutely. But I think like Antique Bakery, calling it a BL doesn't really seem that right, because it's not focused on the romance. It's more just like about the drama about the characters. One of them happens to be gay. So,
Oh, so is in the main character is
not a love story.
Okay, so it's not a love story. Okay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like look at Antique Bakery and they think, okay, it's by Fumi Sensei and it's BL and it's also printed by Digital Manga, which does all the BL printing for Western readers. And you think, okay, it's going to be a love story. It's actually not. It's a character-focused drama about the four main characters, the four main men, and one of them is a extremely gay pastry chef. One of them is the guy who runs the bakery, who's extremely straight, and one of them is a boxer who had to quit boxing because of an injury and he couldn't find another job. So now he's a pastry assistant because he loves eating desserts.
Oh, I was going to say maybe he enjoyed they were like, we need to, get all the gas out of this bread. So he punches it or something like that.
I'm going to punch the heck out of this dough.
No, pretty much like
that would be a good skill.
The guy Tachibana, who runs the bakery, is like, I want a cute girl to be like the server for our bakery. And then the boxer walks in and he's like, hi, I'm looking for work. And the Ono, who's the very queer pastry chef, is like, hey, like, try this. Like, tell me what you think, because this guy, Tachibana, doesn't like desserts. So I need someone to appreciate my desserts. And then they hire him because he cares about it. And then there's Shikage, who's a friend of Tachibana. And so it's kind of the relationships that they build between them. And it's interesting, you've got a bit of a backstory between Tachibana and Ono, because Ono originally confessed to Tachibana in high school, and Tachibana said, no, thank you, you're gay and that's gross, which is not nice.
Very common at that time.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on that. And then and when they come back together as adults, they're in their 30s now, so all these characters are quite older. I say older when, we're all 30s, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Like it's a story for older people.
I was going to say, it's not kids in high school. No. This is adults in the real world.
Yeah, so they've kind of gone through stuff and they've all got their baggage as well. So Ono's got that, but also Tachibana has this like tragic backstory where he was like kidnapped as a child, and there's all this melodrama there. There are 3 different ways you can consume Antique Bakery. There is the original manga, there's the anime.
I would like it on rye.
On rye?
Okay. Yeah,
what would you, sourdough maybe, Kenny? What do you reckon?
You're after something like...
I want an English muffin.
Okay, an English muffin.
Jeez.
Well, okay, you can consume the anime, the manga, or the Korean live action, and each of them bring a really different vibe to the party.
Which one came first?
So the manga came first, and then it was the live action, and then it was the anime. And I found a clip from the live action that Kenny and I were watching today, and it's so wild because it's so cheesy. There was like this musical number. It really plays up the gags.
It's
wild.
It's kind of tonally dissonant from the anime. It's like, it's very, very, like you said, it's festive. It kind of reminds me of Moulin Rouge. Anyone remember that one?
Yeah, it was like real big,
it's this big kind of show-stopping number. The editing for it was great.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Nice.
But so for example, the scene that they were singing about was the scene that I was kind of just describing, where Ono's like, Tachibana, you know nothing about cakes. And he's like, well, if you want to make money from this bakery, you're going to have to learn all these cakes.
So I will
stay up all night. Yeah.
And then I'm just imagining it. Well,
yeah, pretty much. So they stay up all night like studying. And in the live action, there's literally that, and there's like the singing cakes, and it's basically like Beauty and the Beast, like Be My Guest kind of style, like plates
just
everywhere.
Go back there, singing cakes, as in the actual cakes themselves sing.
No, but there are a lot of showgirls around.
Oh, okay,
it's wild.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Like I said, it's like very, very kind of Moulin Rouge.
Fun.
Very, very
now do you want to hear
glamoury.
something weird about the anime adaptation? So, because let's get on to the anime adaptation.
Before we go, because that scene in the anime, and the anime in general, is very melodramatic. And it's very much about Tachibana's like sad, depressing backstory, and not really about much else. Like they kind of miss a lot of the other character interactions. So I actually don't think the anime is the best way to consume it. Whereas the manga
you've read some of the manga, haven't you?
The manga is better. That's what I remember. But the manga also kind of misses a few things because it's just pacing is kind of weird, particularly in the first volume. It's almost like it hasn't got its feet yet, and there's like weird flashbacks without realizing it's a flashback. You're like, what am I reading? Where am I?
So of the 3, you would say the movie?
No, I would still say the manga.
Still say the manga.
But I think it is useful to kind of almost have like a Wikipedia. Like I know what's gonna happen in the first volume kind of thing. But yeah, I went back to watch this because I was really like excited. I was like, oh cool, we're doing like sweets. Antique bakeries are really cute. But more mature kind of something to bring to our table, as opposed to like Dagashi Kashi, which is more for like teens, and like Yumeiro Patissiere, which is for kids. And so I was like, this is another thing.
We got something for everybody.
It's not as good as I remember it, and I don't want people to get angry because I still really like it. But
I think that could be a matter of time as well. This was an earlier one. This was
2008 for the anime, and I think the live action was like 2006 or 5.
Something like that.
And
like,
I think the manga ran from 2001 or so.
Yeah,
I think it's 2002.
Right.
But regardless, like if this was made now, there wouldn't. So but a lot of the plot with original BL, I'm just going to go on a tangent for a second, is like, oh no, there's a gay here. Oh, dun dun dun. And it's like, that's that entire person's personality. If it was written now in 2020, it's like, and this is our pastry chef. That's it. Actually, it's not. It's okay that he's gay. It's not actually a whole
prime
thing.
example, Given.
Yeah,
the way that they're introduced, there isn't that, their defining characteristic isn't the fact that they're homosexual or in the part of the LGBTQI
Thanks
community.
for asking.
Yeah. It's, this is a person. And just because they like someone different from you isn't the core part of their personality.
Yeah.
It's just like it never was.
Yeah.
Or I can't help but think of Wallace from Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
This is
just
Wallace,
a
he's
stereotype.
gay.
Yeah. And that's literally what it's like. And I think that's very indicative of the time in Japan. Obviously, homosexuality in Japan's a lot harder than it is in the West. We're very grateful for that here where we live. But it is also from 2000s, and I think that's that's something there as well.
It shows. Let's be honest. Like the way it handles the issues might not have aged well, but the heart that's in them has stayed around.
I think that kind of goes for a lot of places, though. I mean,
Absolutely.
even in the West, they really didn't know how to write gays in a lot of things. I'm thinking Will and Grace, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. It's a pretty bad way to showcase the gay community.
So as gays,
I feel people
like,
have. The world has matured on that subject a little.
Yeah.
So just like keep that in mind when you read this. When you're like, Ono's like, I have the like, and he's got like almost like the rose petals behind him, like Tamaki from Oran House Coast Club. He's like, I have the ultimate seduction. Like any man I want, I can seduce any man. And then Tachibana's like, oh no, not the gays. And it's like, guys, come on, all right, move on. Anyway.
He's gonna use his gay hypnotism powers on me.
But apart from that, that's actually, it's really only like a small bit, but because it is at the start, it's kind of something you'll run into as like almost like a speed bump. And then once you get past that, it is just a character-driven drama about these 4 guys that run the bakery together and how they kind of work as like a found family, and it is really delightful.
Yeah, they
do learn
so
about a lot of pastry
essentially
as well.
a bit of misstepping at the beginning, but when it gets on track, it's
finds
really
its
wholesome.
feet, and you do learn a lot about pastries.
Now, something I found really interesting was that not just one studio did this. Not just 2 studios did this.
What?
It was 3 studios working together
Well,
to make
that's
this.
weird.
on the anime.
But it's not good.
Yeah.
So too many cooks, I think.
I think. So you had Nippon, who did Hunter x Hunter and many of the old animes going back to
Like
60s.
99 Hunter Hunter.
Yep, 1990. And Synergy SB, who you might know from Initial D.
Sick.
And Beyblade. Yep.
That kind of actually does explain one major thing.
Also kind of funny, Synergy SB took over for Studio Hibari for Major. So Studio Hibari we talked about for Yumeiro Patissiere.
Yeah.
They did season 1 to 3 of Major, and then Synergy SB took over and did season 4 to 8. Don't know why. And then Shirogumi, who there's only one thing they've done that I know, revisions.
Yeah.
What is that?
Revisions was a Netflix original CG anime last year. It was all right. Wasn't amazing. But they've been in a lot of support roles. So, as you said, too many chefs in the kitchen.
Too many cooks.
And
too many
it
cooks.
kind of shows. And
It does.
especially
It's not
with
good.
those studios in particular, because there is a glaring element about the anime which just kind of kills it for me.
Yeah, so
Yeah?
CG backgrounds.
The CG backgrounds, the CG foregrounds. Like, I was talking to someone on Reddit about this. There's a point in the anime where you have, the two characters are sort of walking up the street. It's a nice sort of like wide shot.
What are you talking about?
And a CG cat unfurls its tail and dashes away in the CG foreground with a CG background and these 2 animation. It looks like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, it's like two completely different
wrong.
things. It's so wild. And I think like something else that's really like sad in terms of the anime adaptation is Fumi Sensei's like manga work is beautiful, but it is very much suited to manga. It's simplistic. It's very like that classic angled kind of boys love look. They're beautiful drawings and such, but they don't animate well.
There's a kind of simplicity to the design of them.
Yeah, and that they didn't get that in the anime.
Yeah.
Not at all.
They messed it up.
I think it would have benefited, honestly, if they had not gone with a CG background and made it an equally simplistic, if not more, like kind of Spartan, perhaps, watercolors.
I never thought
love that.
the watercolor would be nice, but I never thought a CG background would do us wrong. That's at every studio ever,
Look,
pretty much.
we're trying to be nice to CG. It's getting better.
It's getting better now, but
think-
back then definitely not.
I think at that point, because they were so excited about how they did it with Initial D and stuff, and it does look pretty good in the opening of the anime. I'm not going to lie. It has a very kind of stylistic element to it. But
Do you enjoy the story though? Do you enjoy the characters?
the characters themselves, their chemistry is great. They actually really play off well together. They have like very polarizing personalities, which is perfect for
It's
them.
fun.
Would you say it's a good mix? That there's more to the batter than meets the eye? That they're
that didn't
filled
land,
with
no.
tasteful
Your souffle is
ideas?
deflated.
Kyle,
It has.
fired.
Again, no.
Well, and on that bombshell,
This cake does not rise.
we do need to finish up here. We'll be right back after this.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Yes, that is where we need to leave things for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Next episode, has anime ever taught you something?
Yes, like even today we were talking about things that we've learned. So absolutely.
Are we talking philosophically or more instructional?
Either?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Stone. I can now make fireworks.
No.
Kyle, no, what have you done? Kenny, don't run with fireworks. No.
Well, next time we're going to be sans Kenny. We're talking about anime that teaches you something or does you an educate, as we love to say. So from instructional stories like Dr. Stone to stories of self-growth, they're in the spotlight and we'll be covering 3 of them next episode. So please join us. We'd love to have you listen.
Studio's on fire.
Yes, the studio's on fire. I don't know where the extinguisher is. I'm just going to burn with it and...
There's no time, we have to get out. But if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button, alert to our future episodes.
Run away!
Already know.
And if you'd like to join our Anime Kawaii-Fi community, don't forget to head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for breaking anime news, memes, and videos.
You've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. We're toasty and burnt now. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, watch some anime!
Happy Halloween!